Hey, it's Chukwumah of Space and Equity, where we're all about increasing assets and creating new space. Real bankers for real people. I'm here today with a very new client of mine, Lou Olerio of Olerio Homes. Lou, man, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Obi. Appreciate it.
All right, so we're going to dig right into this. I would say real estate, as far as Dallas is concerned, specifically Dallas, real estate is probably the number one industry.
In Dallas, it's definitely one of them. Whether commercial real estate, residential, there's last few years they've just been straight up. It's I've been kind of started investing in Dallas real estate in 2000, 2001, and I haven't seen a bull run like the last 4 or 5 years.
Wow. So with that, how do you determine where you're going to develop, and what's the plan horizon-wise? What's the time frame that you have for a particular area?
It just depends on if I'm looking to invest and hold or redevelop and build and sell, like a single family home. Mm-hmm. I've always looked for what's like the missing hole in the donut. When I was in college, I can probably go back and tell you the story of how I started investing in real estate. So when I was at SMU, I had a company that sold T-shirts to all the fraternities and sororities on campus. And anybody who knows Dallas, I'm sure people are listening that don't know Dallas, my printer was on 35 in Walnut Hill. Mm-hmm. So the easiest way from SMU to get there at the time was to take University Drive, go all the way to Lemon, take Lemon to Marsh, and Marsh to Walnut Hill. So I noticed when you would drive through University Park, Highland Park, they were both very nice. Greenway Park's very nice. Mm-hmm. Once you crossed Inwood West, it got very run down, very just not very well kept up very quickly. Mm-hmm. But the location is phenomenal. Yeah. Lovers and Inwood. I mean, it's one of the greater locations in Dallas. And so I said, well, I don't really know anything about real estate. I just graduated from college. I don't have a real estate background, nor do I have a family that has a real estate industry background. Mm-hmm. And I'm not from here. But I said, there's something to this area. Mm-hmm. So I graduated from college, started working at Merrill Lynch, and whatever money I had, I would buy these rental houses back there for $70,000, $80,000. Okay. Those rental houses today trade at $400,000 to $500,000.
Wow.
So that's kind of the pocket that I started developing my real estate company with, doing first renting homes out and learning how to fix and flip, and then remodel, and then eventually in 2007 build new construction.
Awesome. So you had the progression, and there's something about youth where there's no limits to what you can do. So you mentioned you didn't have a real estate background from a family perspective. You just saw, hey, there's an opportunity. Why not?
Yeah, it was, to be honest, it was, definitely death by fire. Uh-huh. I burned myself several times. But that's the only way to learn. Mm-hmm. And I learned on my own dime, so the lessons were pretty memorable. Okay. There were some times I lost 6 figures on a deal when I didn't really have much money, and those definitely still remember those.
Okay. How did you establish your first banking relationship when you're 23 years old, just out of SMU?
Well, it's a dirty word, hard money.
Yeah.
I didn't have any, and back then, I don't know, prime was probably 4 or 5, 6%, and hard money was at 17%. Yeah. So you start using that stuff, you got to get, it's like hot potato. You got to get rid of that stuff quick.
Yeah.
Or, and I remember having a couple loans that, they were ratcheting up on me, and I was paying $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month in carry, and it hurts. It hurts.
The truth of the matter, there's a place for hard money though, because I like to tell people that bank money is great. It's the cheapest form of capital, but it's also the most challenging form of capital to get. And because of regulatory systems, because banks have exposure to all the data on what works, what doesn't work, you're going to have a hard road uphill to get bank financing. Whereas a hard money, it's easier to get, but
it costs.
It costs for you.
Yeah, if there's a hard money company out there. They've gotten very institutionalized. Mm-hmm. There's one called Conquest Funds. The guy calls me literally every week, wants to loan me money at 9 points, 10 points, which isn't crazy historically, But I mean, I got bank notes at 4.25.
Yeah,
so to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
But if I was telling one of my guys in my office that if I was starting out again, that's not, you're doing one house a year, two houses a year without a lot of experience. That's probably not the worst way to go.
It's not the worst, and you can move real estate so fast. It probably hurts you more to not take advantage of that 10 points, move it in 4 months versus try to put the capital together yourself.
Well, the other way you got to look at it is that most guys starting out, if they're don't have aren't well heeled financially from some other business that their industry, they want to get into building homes, then they're going to take a partner. They're going to take a 50-50 partner. Well, that 50-50 partner is a heck of a lot more expensive than that 10 points, right? Yeah. You make $200,000 on a house, you might pay $20,000 to that Conquest funds or whoever the lender is, but you're going to pay $100,000 for that 50-50 equity partner.
Yeah, depends on how you want to leverage, how you want to grow.
That's right.
So tell me about the T-shirt business. So you,
it was my first little enterprise. I was social chair of my fraternity, and I was just like astonished how much we were spending on party shirts. A few thousand a party. And then I already knew everybody on campus, so I started doing like Parents Weekend for SMU, like all the big events. I mean, I think when I graduated, I was doing 25,000 T-shirts a year at SMU, and it was a good little introductory lesson on, owning a little company and kind of growing it. And had I had the foresight, I would have probably stuck with it and done something. The internet was just starting to develop, e-commerce and stuff like that. And every time I see that commercial, it's some T-shirt commercial I see on TV, I don't remember. It's got like an octopus as a logo. I'm like, man, that's what I should have done. But things worked out all right.
Things worked out all right.
Yeah.
So I find that, obviously there's really three ways to grow wealth in this country. You've got real estate, you've got the market, and then you've got business and entrepreneurs. Real estate guys tend to stick to real estate because they know that tangible asset, and they don't play as much in the market. Tell me about how you approach.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I mean, of my net worth, I don't know, maybe 1%, 2%, maybe
in the market.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's in a qualified plan. It's in a SEP plan. But yeah, no, I mean, I like the fact I know that if I buy a piece of property, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be worth 50% less than I paid for it. You can also leverage that. I think there's definitely places for equities, but to grow wealth, I mean, very few people besides somebody like Warren Buffett have become wealthy just from the stock market.
Yeah.
That's usually not the easiest way to grow wealth. Real estate, I've been fortunate, and for me, that's been the way I've done it.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. I haven't found the individual that dabbles evenly in all three. It's usually 1, 2, but not 3.
Yeah, I mean, I have majority of my net worth is in real estate stuff I'm developing or income producing commercial properties. I have some restaurant exposure and very little, which is some restaurants I'm part owners of.
Okay.
And then very little stock market exposure.
Yeah. Tell me about the restaurant piece. It's really challenging from a bank perspective to provide funding to restaurants as compared to other industry verticals. How have you guys put together a capital stack when you're dealing with?
The way we've done it is all private funding.
Okay.
So basically, find a restaurant space, get some investors to raise. Average restaurant raise is $600,000 to $1 million, and then give them equity and a pref, and then just use that money to do leasehold improvements and have no debt. None of the restaurants I'm involved in have zero. They're all zero debt.
Yeah. How the rest, and tell the audience, the uninitiated, why is it challenging for a bank to provide funding to a restaurant?
Well, the risk of failure is extraordinarily high. When you're investing in restaurants, you got to look, 1, towards the operator even more than the concept, 2 to the concept, and 3 to the location. Or all 3 are vitally important: location, concept, and operator. Where building a house, I'm not going to say that what I do isn't difficult, but the chance of failure or the risk is a lot less. If I get hit by a bus, the bank can step in there, finish that house, sell, and probably come out whole or better than whole. Where a restaurant, bank doesn't want to take a hold of a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's the last thing they want to go near.
So you went to SMU, finished in '99. Why SMU versus any other schools you were looking at?
I grew up in the Northeast. I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire, about an hour north of Boston, Massachusetts. Went to a small private school outside of Boston, and I was supposed to actually go to Boston College.
Okay.
A lot of my family went there. I'm Catholic. It's a good Jesuit school, and I met a recruiter at a college fair, and she's like, "Hey, have you ever thought of SMU?" And I was like, "I don't even know what SMU is. Where is that?" And
you didn't know the Pony Express?
No, I did not. I grew up. I mean,
yeah,
but I'm 44, so by that time when Pony Express, I was 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
But I met a recruiter, and she's like, "Well, you should look at SMU." And I was like, "Well, I've never been to Dallas." And they showed me a bunch of stuff, and I told my dad, "Hey, I want to look at SMU." He's like, "I don't know what that is." And I said, "Where is it?" And I said, "It's in Dallas." He goes, "Nah, I don't think so." And I said, "Well, you said I could go wherever I wanted." He said, "I did say that, but I'm not going to Dallas." So, I called my grandfather and I said, "Papa Joe," I said, "let's get on a plane." And we came to Dallas. This was spring of 95 or May, June of 95. Came down here. I just fell in love with the campus, with, everything with Dallas. And that was it. And been here ever since.
That's awesome. It's a lot of the SMU. Well, I've not attended SMU. Obviously, I was Wake Forest. But it seems like you have locals, Highland Park, and then you have California.
There's a lot of California. There's a lot of like Chicago area, and then you have a lot of like Oklahoma, like the geographic area around Texas, right?
Okay.
And then California is a big draw. Florida is a big draw. Very little Northeast, very little Northwest, and not very much like Midwest, besides like Chicago. But it's funny. The majority of the people I went to school with, most of them have gone back to wherever they came from. I'm one of the few people that I run in, we go to tailgates or go to reunions, and the amount of people that stayed from other states, I think, is not nearly as great as people that actually were from here and went to SMU.
Gotcha. So tell me about the networks that you developed there. Are you still working with some of the people that you met while on campus?
I am. I actually just bought a piece of property in Grand Prairie at the Epic development from one of my fraternity brothers from SMU. But a lot of my network is based from people I know or I've met at SMU football games or knew when I was there, and developed a network that I work off of.
So you've done your main business or your main vertical is single family development.
Correct.
If I understand it.
Correct.
How have you honed the budget process, even when you have these wide swifts when we're paying a lot more for lumber for a time period? How do you hone that piece down?
Well, I got a full-time estimator, and we negotiate a lot of our contracts. I mean, we're doing $50 million a year in new vertical construction, and a lot of our stuff we pre-negotiate. In lumber, obviously it's a spot market. We can only get 30-day pricing, but we know when we start what that package is going to cost.
Okay.
And our budgets usually, even without getting daily lumber pricing, I can build a budget and be within 3 or 4% of what that thing's going to finally cost. I've been doing it for 15 years, done 300 or 400 homes. It's just what it's going to cost.
Yeah. And how many units do you typically go through a year?
This year we'll probably go through 50.
50.
Next year will be probably between 100 and 150, just because we have some large projects coming online. They're going to be build to rent communities.
Okay.
One near Love Field and then one up near 635 and Webb Chapel.
Wow. That concept is really proliferating, build to rent. Obviously, there's just not enough inventory on stock, and then not everybody can get financing. When did you decide, hey, I need to add that to?
It was only in the last 6 months. I had a couple developments that I built out, or one that I built out off of 635 and Webb Chapel that I was going to do 25 single-family homes. And had a ton of interest to pre-sell. And then I have 64 duplexes I own over by Love Field. I own one whole street block of duplexes, and I was going to mow those down and do new product for sale. And I was introduced to a private equity company in Dallas that's a feeder fund for Invitation Homes, which is a publicly traded REIT that specializes in portfolioing. I think they have 40,000 single-family homes across the country. And they said, well, would you be interested in doing a JV deal? You sell us the land, you build them for us, we partner in JV, and then stabilize them and then sell them off to REIT. And I said, let's look at some numbers. And I decided to go that way, not because the profit was so much greater than me doing it myself, but it allowed me to turn a lot of that income into a long-term capital gain versus the ordinary
1031.
No. You can't, I can't 1031 what I do.
Okay.
I can 1031 my commercial investments.
Yeah.
But when it comes to vertical single-family development, that's what I'm in the business of. So everything I do in a year is all ordinary income.
Okay.
I can't take a long-term treatment on any of that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah.
By doing these investments with these private equity companies, it turns into a capital gain.
Okay. Excellent. Well, we threw out a few terms at the audience. So you've got a REIT, which is Real Estate Investment Trust.
Correct.
A lot of private institutional money flows through these trusts. It's another vehicle that is traded in the market.
Yeah, that's they're publicly traded.
And then you've got a joint venture or JV, a joint venture.
Correct.
Just meaning that you're partnering with another individual, another organization to do a project together. A part of a lot of what we're doing here, Lou, is just providing education on what the commercial banking process is, and using the lingo to support that. So you've shared a lot of great information with us, Gems, why you stayed in the Dallas market. Tell us, beyond real estate, what are you doing for fun? What are you doing to?
I don't do a lot of that. I am a big. My company is a lead sponsor for SME football, SME basketball.
Okay.
So I enjoy going to those events, the football and basketball games. I like to travel. Last year and a half, haven't been doing much, but I have friends in California. I have family in Florida and New Hampshire, so I try to visit them a couple times a year. Besides that, just maybe do a little exercise, watch a movie. Nothing. Go out to dinner. Nothing crazy. I wish I had better stories, but I don't.
No, man. I think a lot of us, when you are hustling to support your business, that's a big part of your time. But Dallas is a great hub for travel.
It is. It's easy. Yeah. It's easy. Yeah.
Direct flights everywhere. So I've got to imagine that you get the opportunity to. What does your dad think now about your choice of SMU versus where he was in '95?
I think they wish that I'd gone probably to Boston College because I never came home.
Okay.
But I think he's proud of what I've accomplished, and I know when I left Merrill Lynch in '05, he was very agitated that I didn't have a corporate job.
Okay.
And that I decided to work for myself, and it worked.
Paid off.
It's paid off.
It's paid off.
It paid off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think our parents are the same age from a generational standpoint, and it's hard for them to conceive of entrepreneurship.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my dad worked for 2 companies his whole life in corporate environment, and with pension plans and 401ks and all that stuff, and insurance benefits, and paid vacation, and I think he was nervous to see that I kind of took a leap, and he wasn't quite sure how that was going to work, but it's worked out. Yeah,
worked out well. Well, Lou, man, it's a pleasure having you. Thank you for dropping all the insight that you did. If you want to take time now to plug anything, your website.
Sure.
For the audience.
I'm not going to pass up a free plug. You can visit our inventory, OlerioHomes.com. Also follow us on Instagram at Olerio Homes. That's about it.
Thanks, man. Thank you for your time. So, to find Space and Equity, where we're all about increasing assets and creating new space, you can find us on IG at OB_empowers. On YouTube itself, it's Space and Equity. Like and subscribe. If you don't like us, don't do the upside down thumb. Just send me an email. If it makes sense, I'll respond to you. ob@spaceequitycorp.com. And then you can also check out our website at spaceequitycorp.com. Check out the paraphernalia and the information that we're sharing on this. Come correct, and they can't stop you.